This is just a get to know me video. I was just letting y'all know. This mug getting a little stiff, but like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Police identifying a woman shot to death just outside the Dome over the weekend. Police say 24-year-old Alexcia Ayers was killed in the shooting.
She was at her mother's house, safe. Her family begged her not to leave. She left anyway. By 10 p.m. that Sunday night, St. Louis had its 148th homicide of 2024. She was 24 years old, and the weapon used to kill her, it was hers. Her name was Alexcia Ayers. Carr Street, Columbus Square. A 7th grade track athlete who grew up running the 200-meter dash in East St. Louis. Her family said she had goals. She had people who loved her. She had a whole life in front of her. She grew up running fast. On December 29, 2024, she ran one last time, out of her own apartment, wounded, fighting to survive. She made it outside the building. She didn't make it any further. Here is the question I cannot shake, the one that is going to follow us through this entire story. She was at her mother's house, safe. Every person who loved her told her to stay. So what made her leave? What kind of hold does someone have over another person that drowns out every warning bell going off around them? By the end of this video, I think that answer is going to hit you harder than you expect. Before the night was over, Alexcia's mother pulled up to that apartment building. She didn't know what had happened inside yet, but she saw someone driving away. That image becomes one of the most critical moments in this entire case. The man behind the wheel was Deontai Glasper, Alexcia's boyfriend. And before we go any further, Glasper had 4 prior violent felony convictions, 2 armed robberies, 1 aggravated robbery, 1 unlawful possession of a weapon. The law was clear. He was never supposed to touch a firearm again. So how did he end up with one that night? Stay with me. Watch this video to the very end, because in the final chapter, I am going to break down the exact warning signs that were present in this relationship and what you or someone you love can do if those same signs are showing up right now. That part matters. Alexcia's family warned her. She went anyway. Was that a failure of love or a failure of a system that saw 4 violent felony convictions and did nothing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe her life was worth more than the silence that surrounded her, hit subscribe. Because this story gets so much harder before it gets anywhere near justice. Welcome to True Crime Footprint, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most terrifying true crime tales. Kindly hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell. And so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive.
Hell yeah, bitch, because you look sexy as fuck. You look good as fuck. It's a bad bitch holiday. Turn around, let me see that ass.
Most people don't become dangerous overnight. The signs are almost always there. With Deontai Glasper, they weren't hidden. They weren't buried in some sealed file somewhere. They were right there, in court records, in black and white. A paper trail that stretched across the state of Illinois before he ever set foot in Alexcia's life. 2 convictions for armed robbery, 1 for aggravated robbery, 1 for unlawful possession of a weapon. All of this before he turned 25. Let that land for a second. 4 violent felony convictions. And under both state and federal law, that meant one thing. Glasper was never legally allowed to be near a firearm again. Not in his hand, not in his home, not anywhere near him. And yet, when the people closest to this relationship used 2 words over and over again when describing how Glasper treated Alexcia: jealousy and control, not love, not protectiveness. Jealousy and control. There is a difference, and that difference is everything. He didn't see her as a partner. He saw her as something that belonged to him, and the moment she existed outside of his reach, even for one night, even at her own mother's house, something in him could not handle it. Criminologists have a term for the specific combination of factors that predict lethal outcomes in relationships like this. They call them lethality markers. Prior weapon felonies, possessive behavior, access to a firearm, and the moment a victim creates any distance, no matter how small. All 4 were present that night, every single one. But here is the part that genuinely breaks me. Alexcia wasn't at her mother's house because of some massive blow-up. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't packing her things or planning to walk away permanently. She was just at her mom's on a Sunday evening, like any normal person might be. And that was enough to set him off. He started calling, repeatedly, demanding she leave, demanding she come to him. Her family was right there. They heard it. They told her not to go. What did he say on those calls? What words were convincing enough or frightening enough that she got in her car anyway? We may never know exactly. But what happened after she picked him up and drove him back to that Carr Street apartment? That we know in painful detail. Surveillance cameras at the apartment complex caught them walking in together. And the argument picked right back up inside those walls. And this time, there was no cooling down, no walking away, no way out for Alexcia. Deontai Glasper had 4 violent felony convictions and was not legally allowed to own or touch a gun. I need you to answer this in the comments honestly. Who failed Alexcia more? Glasper or the system that kept releasing him back into the world? Right now, someone you know might be in a relationship with a man just like him. The signs were documented, public record. If this story is opening your eyes, share this video. Not for the numbers, for that one person in your circle who needs to see it before it is too late. And if you have not subscribed yet, do it now. Because the next story on this channel might hit closer to home than you are comfortable with.
Police identifying a woman shot to death just outside the Dome over the weekend. Police say 24-year-old Alexcia Ayers was killed in the shooting. Officers responded to this scene just before 10 o'clock on Sunday night for calls of a shooting in an apartment building. When they arrived, police found Ayers with multiple gunshot wounds. She died at the scene. At this point, we are working to learn if any arrests have been made in connection to the shooting. Homicide detectives continue their investigation.
Here is where it gets really disturbing. Glasper didn't bring a weapon that night. He didn't need to, because Alexcia had her own firearm inside that apartment. She kept it for protection, and the one threat she never fully prepared for, the one already inside her home, already inside her life, picked it up and used it on her. Inside that Carr Street apartment, the argument crossed a line it could never come back from. Glasper took her firearm and shot her, multiple times. Think about that for a second. Really sit with it. She kept a gun to feel safe, and it was the thing that ended her. Alexcia was not found inside that apartment. She ran, wounded, bleeding, fighting for every second. She made it out of that unit and down to the outside of the building. That is where officers found her at approximately 10 p.m. and responding to a shots fired call. Unconscious, not breathing. She was pronounced dead at the scene. She made it outside. She fought. She ran, just like she ran that 200-meter dash as a 7th grader. Full speed, everything she had. But this time there was no finish line she could reach. Now here is the part most people gloss over. And I need you to pay attention to it because it changes everything about how we understand what happened that night. After the shooting, Glasper did not call 911. He did not check on Alexcia. He did not stay. He called someone to come pick him up, a third party, a getaway, arranged and executed while Alexcia was somewhere between fighting for her life and losing it on the pavement outside. Most people hear that and still want to call this a crime of passion, an argument that went too far. But a man in a genuine panic does not think clearly enough to organize a pickup. A man who already knew he was walking away, that man makes that call. Alexcia's mother pulled up to that apartment complex that night. She didn't know yet. She had no idea what was waiting for her on the other side of that building. But before she found out, she saw him, Glasper, in a car, driving away from the scene, calm enough to leave, collected enough to go. Her daughter was dying outside that building, and the man who put her there was already gone. Look, if you have been watching this whole time and you still have not subscribed, I genuinely respect that. Maybe this channel is not quite what you are looking for yet. Maybe you want more focus on the investigation side. Maybe you want deeper victim profiles. Maybe something else entirely. If that is you, go to the comments right now and tell me exactly what is missing for you. What would make this channel something you come back to? I read every comment in every video, and more than once, a comment has shaped what story gets told next. So if you have got something to say, say it. You are here. That already means something. Glasper thought he had walked away clean. No confession, no weapon recovered at the scene. A getaway already in motion before the first patrol car arrived on Carr Street. He thought he was untouchable, But he made one mistake. One, the kind investigators quietly wait for. Because in 2024, it is almost impossible to avoid. His phone was on, and it was talking the entire time. Glasper took Alexia's own firearm, shot her, called a ride, and drove away while her mother was pulling into the same parking lot. No remorse, no hesitation, not even a single call to get her help. I want you to go to the comments right now and tell me, what is the one word you would use to describe a man who does that? I am reading every single response. And if you believe Alexia's story deserves to be seen by more people, hit the like button right now. Every like pushes this video in front of someone new. More eyes means more awareness. And awareness is the only thing that actually has a chance of changing how stories like this one end. 6 months passed between December 29th, 2024, and the day Deontai Glasper was put in handcuffs. 6 months. And the whole time, he was out there believing he had gotten away with it. No confession, no weapon, a clean exit. What he did not account for was the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department Homicide Division, working quietly, methodically, and with tools he clearly did not respect enough. The surveillance footage from the apartment complex placed him and Alexcia arriving together that night. The physical evidence at the scene, shell casings, bullet trajectory, caliber, all connected back to Alexia's own firearm. The pieces were there, but the pivot point of the entire case was something most people never think about when they are trying to cover their tracks. Cell Site Location Information, CSLI. Every time Glasper's phone connected to a cell tower that night, it logged his location. Investigators requested a warrant, pulled the data, and built a precise map of his movements, from Carr Street to his escape route, minute by minute. The data placed him at 700 Carr Street during the exact window of the shooting. It tracked him leaving. It matched perfectly with the statement from Alexia's mother, who watched him drive away from the building where her daughter was dying. His phone told the whole story. While he was busy thinking he had walked away clean, it was talking. When detectives sat across from Glasper and laid that cellular evidence on the table, his denials started falling apart in real time. He reportedly dropped his alibi and admitted he was present at the scene. He did not confess to pulling the trigger, but he confirmed he was there. And combined with the surveillance footage, the physical evidence, and a witness who was also a grieving mother, that was enough. June 12th, 2025, 6 months after Alexcia died on that sidewalk, Deontai Glasper was formally charged with first-degree murder, armed criminal action, and unlawful possession of a firearm. Here is what those charges actually mean. First-degree murder in Missouri requires deliberation, cool reflection for any amount of time, no matter how brief. Prosecutors argue that calling Alexcia repeatedly, demanding she leave her mother's house, getting her to come to him, and then using her own weapon against her is exactly that, calculated, not reactive. Armed criminal action carries a mandatory minimum sentence that runs consecutive to everything else. It stacks. There is no overlap. And touching that firearm at all was a federal crime the moment his fingers closed around it. He was a convicted felon. That part was over before Alexcia ever walked back through her own front door. The prosecution is not framing this as a moment of rage. They are calling it calculated, and honestly, looking at that timeline, it is very hard to argue otherwise. As of mid-2025, Glasper is in custody. No trial date has been made public, which means the Ayers family is still waiting, still carrying this, and they are doing it without Alexcia, but also without someone else, because this family's pain did not stop in December. And that part of the story is what makes this whole thing almost impossible to sit with. It took 6 months and a full digital forensics case to arrest a man with 4 violent felony convictions. Does that feel like justice to you? Or does it feel like Alexcia deserved protection long before December 29th? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to know where you land on that. If you believe stories like this need to reach more people, subscribe right now and turn on the bell. Not for me, for the next Alexcia, because the next story on this channel is one you will not want to find out about too late. Alexcia Ayers was the 148th homicide victim in St. Louis in 2024. Not a statistic, a person, a daughter, a sister, a young woman who ran track, who had goals, who had people fighting to keep her safe right up until the moment she walked out that door. 5 months after she was buried, her family got another knock they never saw coming. In May 2025, 17-year-old Cody Drew Ayers, Alexia's younger brother, Scott and Allie's youngest son, was gone too. The community pulled together a fundraiser that exceeded $60,000, and I think that number says everything about how deeply this family was loved and how completely they were shattered. I don't have the words for what they have carried. I don't think any of us do. This is not a story about one bad night. It is a pattern: possessive behavior, prior weapon felonies, a firearm in the home, a woman seeking distance. Every lethality marker was present. Every warning sign was documented, and Alexcia still did not make it home. She did everything right in her final seconds. She ran. She got out of that room, and it still was not enough. That is not on her. That is on his choices and every system that saw his record and kept moving. Glasper is charged. He is in custody, but Alexcia is still gone, and her mother still carries the image of that man driving away. Was justice served? Or is justice just the word we use when the system does the minimum? Tell me in the comments. To Scott, to Ailey, to everyone who loved Alexcia and Cody, I am so deeply sorry. She deserved a full life. This channel will never stop saying her name. If you made it here, you are not someone who looks away when something matters. And Deontai Glasper counted on people looking away. Don't give people like him that comfort. Like this video, share it, subscribe, and turn on the bell. Every single one of those actions puts this story in front of someone who might need it today. To everyone who made it to the end, thank you for watching, for your attention, and for joining us on this journey of reflection. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.